Hello, friends. How are we doing? I hope we're doing alright. If you read the title of this video, you already know what this is. This is the introduction, because it's not Chapter 1, even though it technically is, I guess, I don't know, to Onision's second book, This Is Why I Hate You. That's the name of the book. There could also be a list of reasons why I hate his writing. Oh, fuck. I was not looking forward to this one. I wasn't looking forward to any of these, let's be completely honest, but I wasn't looking forward to this one more than the others. This is the most self-aggrandizing, overtly emo, wannabe, deep fucking pieces of absolute boredom. I've only read the introduction, and I already fucking hate this. So, the introduction is basically just an introduction to our main character and his life. And what we understand is our main character's name is Arthur, and he's 17, red flag number 1, in high school. I don't know why he capitalized high school, as if that's the name of the school. I'm in high school, I go to high school. Yes, in the middle of White Town. Aha. This is... oh god. Oh god. This is so painfully, like, live journal. This reads like posts on some incredibly, like, you know, I'm smarter than everybody, even though I don't pass all my tests, but I learn differently, and people don't understand me because I'm different. This is such a fucking emo kid wet dream that it's practically leaking out of the monitor. And yes, I am reading this on my computer because fuck you. It's easier to see, I don't care. So there are all kinds of wonderful little passages into this. He's mad at his dad. Of course he is. Of course. This wouldn't be a maladjusted teenager story unless they're mad at their dad. God, Dad, how come you don't understand? God. I also want to remind you that when Onision wrote this, he was like a grown man. He did not write this at 17. This is a grown man who writes this, so keep that in mind for every single chapter of this book concurrently. I don't know how many there are. I don't imagine there are too many. It's not very long. But that's fine. That's fine. There doesn't have to be a lot. Let's go over some of the wonderful little notes, because there's not a lot of plot in this. It's just, I am a teenager, I go to high school. It's already melting my brain. Oh, I'm excited. And he hates everyone. Because of course he does. I can practically envision the eye makeup and the fucking black beanie now. It's as if this book is already wearing it. How do you express yourself to people when you don't even feel they're worth the time? Actual line from this book. Actual line from this book. But here's the funny thing about that. This is not just like a third-person narrative. This is a first-person narrative, specifically one that is being written in a journal. So that line is incredibly interesting, isn't it? How do you express yourself to people when you don't even feel they're worth your time? I don't know, Arthur. Why are you fucking doing it? And you might be thinking, Arthur wrote this little fucking gem, or rather, Greg, wrote this fucking gem in the idea that no one would read this. Well, Greg wrote this with the idea someone would read it, obviously. It's a book. That was his intention from the minute he sat down to write it. But our character is writing a journal. Right? So we're under the impression that he may, being that this is a journal, not expect other people to read this. But that's not true, because he writes this as if he's writing to an audience. It's one thing to write notes to yourself, because you already know most of the context and you wouldn't need to spell out every single thing. But in order to spell out every single thing would be as if you were to explain things to a third party, to an audience. If I was to tell you, the drive is on the desk. Okay, that doesn't mean anything to you because you don't know how many desks I have, what drive I'm talking about, what it looks like, in what location, or anything. But it makes sense to me because I already know those things. So that would be a note I would leave to myself. I'm explaining this a lot because this is going to come up a lot. I want you to be fucking ready for this, okay? You're not prepared. I know you think you are. I promise you're not. It's going to get so fucking weird. And this is only the introduction. There's a whole section in here. There is a whole fucking section in here that I just have to share with you. Quote, I realize I am insignificant. Me acknowledging that is somewhat ironic, considering I feel most everyone I encounter is beneath me. Really? I couldn't tell. I ask you, knowing my life is so meaningless, what does that make the lives of people who have not once stopped and questioned their existence? Happy. They're happy because they don't think like you fucking emo little prick. Jesus. He refers to people as wasted human shells born like cattle, only to wither like fruit and die as if they never existed to begin with. And I'm sure when he wrote that, he felt very deep and very intelligent. And to me, you just sound like someone who has too much time with a thesaurus and a fucking inferiority complex. Jesus, this bitch. Jesus. And this is just the beginning. So, he also has this wonderful point. You, reading this now, admit your life is meaningless and admit that you don't matter. If you have any truth within yourself, just admit that you can be replaced and the world won't even blink as your body rots. Take an honest look at our species. This book is already fucking with my brain. Admit humanity is a disease to this planet and admit that what we are and wonder why you even bother trying. A lot of the reason why people don't do that, Greg, because, let's face it, you wrote this and you thought this was really cool. A lot of the reason people don't do that is not because they're not aware of the fact that their existence is finite. I am aware that my existence is finite, much in the same way that I am aware of every other person I meet having a finite existence. But that's not really the point of existence. See, when you focus on pointlessly negative things like that and constantly reinforce that as if it makes you some kind of superior intellect, makes you better than everybody else, makes you smarter and so much edgier, makes you seem like an absolute douchebag. I realize that I won't live forever, which is why I'm here to have fun, which is why I do the things I do, to entertain, to amuse, to be funny, and to explore things that I would not explore otherwise, which is why I'm here reading this. You can't see the massive grin on my face, but oh honey, I am going to come at this with a fistful of fucking razors, just the way you like it. We're gonna rip this shit to shreds. I'm going to enjoy it, because this is pretense in fucking literary form. This is a pretentious, nonsensical drabble based entirely on ego. After all, you went this far to create a character whose entire existence is this little myopic, destructive, self-loathing fest. And then to talk about how everyone is just awful and they're just stupid and they're just like cattle, they're just withering and they don't even know it. When the difference is that everyone does know it, they're just not as much of a whiny bitch as you are. We tend to learn things and move on. You learned one thing and hung on to it and pretended to be an intellectual. You also strike me as the kind of person who might have a Pickle Rick tattoo. I know, you're so smart. You watch Rick and Morty. We're all impressed. my genius. So this is just the introduction. An introduction to a book that might as well be a phrase of my own expression when it comes to everything in this. So, welcome one and all to this first part. And as for our friend Arthur, aka Greg, this is why I hate you. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next chapter. Oh, this is gonna be a fucking weird one. Goodbye!